death penalty being offered as a solution is always offered as a solution for violent crimes, saying that it will deter potential offenders from committing these crimes. Now, when we talk about deterrence, because we are talking about it specifically this time in respect of child sexual abuse, we need to be aware of the realities of child sexual abuse in this country. And there are many good organizations and people who work on the implementation of the Act. So there is the Center for the Child and Law at National Law School, Bangalore, which has conducted studies on the implementation of the Act in 5 states, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Assam and Delhi. And their findings are that some of the most basic procedures and provisions that were provided under the Act, which came into force in November 2012, have still not been implemented. This ordinance also talks about bringing in the fast track court. However, there was a study conducted by Center for Law and Policy Research, which is an organization based in Bangalore, in 2014, and it found that fast track courts are only fast track courts for namesake, but they're not doing anything to fast track the procedures, and the acquittal rates of fast track courts are much higher than those of normal courts. Even generally, the 5 studies that have been conducted by the Center for Child and Law, if you look at that, the acquittal rate is extremely high. It's 90% for as high as 90% for the state of Karnataka, and even for other states it's around 80 to 75%. So what I'm trying to say is that harshening the punishment is not the solution. You have to look at the trial, the victim's interaction with the criminal justice system. There are 2 important aspects when we talk about a criminal trial. One is the pre-trial aspect, which is the investigation by the police, and the other is the recording of evidence and arguments. Now, we do not focus on aspects like, are there enough investigators, are they sensitive enough? POCSO and even the Criminal Law Amendment Act said that in cases of child sexual abuse and in rape cases, it's going to be the women police officers which are going to record the statement of the victim. But we have around only 7% of women police officers in our crime branch. Even our ratio of every police officer to a citizen is 1 is to 633. So there are not enough resources. The police is not trained. It's not sensitized, which leads to shoddy investigation. And then shoddy investigation coupled by lack of preparation, lack of child-friendly procedures, where POCSO Act requires the child to not be exposed to the accused at any point of time. It's a mandatory requirement, but you don't see that happening. And the study that the Center for Child and Law conducted, it found that there is no separation, and a lot of times the child, much like an adult survivor of sexual violence, is subjected to aggressive questioning by the defense lawyer. So I'm saying that unless you focus on these crucial aspects of a criminal trial and try to make sure that a child is able to depose and talk about the crime freely, you're not going to be able to get convictions. So there's no question of sentencing. So harsher punishments is not shouldn't be the focus. It's a very shortcut solution. It's a very easy solution offered by the state, because it does not require them to interact with people who work on the ground on these issues. It doesn't require the government to look at its budget to ensure that the police and the prosecution and other stakeholders have enough resources. And just to avoid these actually important questions and these important engagements, death penalty is being offered as a shortcut solution. And we as citizens of this country who want these crimes to stop, who are against these kind of violent crimes, need to understand that the death penalty is basically the state offering you nothing.